Good. All right. Let's call the meeting to order. We'll stand and say the pledge of allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, roll call. Steve is absent. Brian?
I'm here.
And William?
Here.
You like William?
Will.
Well, Will. All right. And David is right. All right. Item number 4, PV 006-23 application to consider a variance. You need a presentation on that from you or?
I will give it.
Go ahead.
All right, thank you. This is case number PV 006-23. This is a appeals request to variance from the minimum front yard setback and the minimum rear yard setback. This case is a little bit unique. Consolidated Water District 1 is in the process of attempting to purchase some land that would allow them to build a water meter on this property so that they could increase their services to the city of Basehor. This development is dependent upon a rezoning request that will actually be heard this evening by the Planning Commission. They are also platting the property, and that request will also be heard by the Planning Commission. But this piece of property needs to be rezoned from from residential O to I1, and that increases the required setbacks because you typically want to make sure industrial buildings are set far back because they can be really tall. In this case, the proposed structure is not tall at all. The property is also very limited by floodplain and access and a floodway in addition to just floodplain. And so they are requesting to reduce that front yard setback from 80 feet to 50 feet and the rear yard setback from 25 feet to 10 feet, which would allow them to kind of nestle this building really on the only buildable portion of this proposed lot. There's also existing utility easements that run through this property that are not going anywhere, and they're very large utility easements. So this property is very constrained. However, the location of this property is really quite beneficial to the water district's plans for expansion. So that's why they've chosen this property, even though it has the constraints that it has. So as you may recall, we are required by state statute to lay out the criteria in which a variance may or may not be granted. It is your responsibility to determine whether or not these factors are being met. The first factor is that the variance requested arises from a condition which is unique to the property and is not ordinarily found in the same zoning district, and it's not created by an action of the applicant. In this case, the applicant didn't create the floodplain or the floodway, and the applicant didn't create those easements that we talked about. This is a pretty unique situation given this property. The second is that the granting of the variance will not adversely affect the rights of the adjacent property owners. Granting this is very unlikely to impact anybody. This building is still going to be built fairly far away from the road. It's not going to encroach upon somebody else's property line. It's going to be, again, just nestled in that developable pocket of land. The strict application of the provisions of the zoning ordinance it would constitute unnecessary hardship upon the property owner represented in this application. This is one that is oftentimes very difficult to meet. In this case, not granting this variance will make this piece of property nearly unbuildable in this situation. So we feel that that criteria is met. That the variance desired will not adversely affect the public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, general welfare, or the harmonious development of the city. We do not think that it will have any adverse effects on those items. The granting of the variance is not in opposition to the general spirit and intent of the zoning regulations. Again, we feel that this is generally in line given what they are proposing to build. And that the variance, if granted, is a minimum variance that will afford the relief. Again, based upon those criteria or those items that I spoke about previously, the floodplain, floodway, and the utility easements. This really is about the most strict requests that they could make to get that building nestled in where it needs to go. So we believe that it meets that factor. Staff recommends approval of this, granting both of the setback variances, keeping in mind that this is kind of a contingent approval. It's based upon what, the zoning being.
Planning Commission. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
So if for some reason either the rezoning or the plat were to not be approved, then the variance would not go forward. Mr. Fulkerson is here. We'll answer any questions you may have. With that.
You guys have any questions?
Not really.
Well, do you have anything?
Nope.
You don't want to talk for a few minutes? Is there anybody else that has any comments on this? Okay. Mhm.
Ma'am, sir, would you mind if you do want to speak, please go to the podium.
You didn't speak.
Okay. I'm Sue Krause, live at 142nd Parallel, and I have talked with Mike. I had expressed some concerns and we set up a meeting and we went over some things. And I feel I had a better clarification of what's happening. And in my layman's terms, I understand you're just more talking about the building and getting the building. Get the building up, and I have no concerns whatsoever about that building. I do have a concern, and I think Mike has clarified some things, and as we move forward, I think we should be able to work through them. Bringing the water line across frontage of my property.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if this is, I just wanted to mention.
Okay.
I mean, that's in my understanding of everything Mike shared with me, he went over in detail, which I really appreciate that.
Okay.
And, yeah, building fine, no problem. When it comes to my property, of course, I have a concern and I have laterals. We've talked about those things.
Sure.
And most likely as we move forward, shouldn't be an issue. We'll work through it.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Sue.
Thanks.
All right. We have 3 options available for us. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. All right, got a motion by Steve, a second by Will. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3-0.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, the other item that we have before you, it's pretty minor. The Board of Zoning Appeals needs bylaws. Those are helpful. We have kind of been doing an overhaul of the Planning Commission and their bylaws and such and their membership. And in doing that, we realized that the Board of Zoning Appeals does not have current bylaws and nothing that's been approved or adopted by this body. There's their draft bylaws here. They're very straightforward. They are best practice bylaws. Mr. Heaven was unable to be here this evening, but he is our special counsel, our land use counsel. He prepared these for us. We feel quite confident that they are in order. You will notice it sets forth the duties of the officer and it continues to state that meetings shall be called by the chairman. And as you all know, typically how that happens is I reach out to you and say, hey, we need to have a Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. So we will continue to not have a set meeting. I will try, just so that you all are aware, to pair Board of Zoning Appeals meetings with Planning Commission meetings. So the second Tuesday of the month, anytime I can. Certainly if it doesn't work out for your schedules, then we can do something else. But that will continue to be the case, that we'll have quite a bit of flexibility in that. But other than that, there's not much in here.
All right. Anybody have any questions over those?
I noticed the published notice of meetings at the local newspaper. I know that must be a best practice.
Yes.
Is that published online as well?
So we actually, very recently, the city of Basehor has designated our website
Oh,
as our
okay.
official
Okay,
Perfect.
newspaper, which we are allowed to do.
Perfect.
So,
Okay.
yes.
I was curious
Yes.
about that. I haven't seen a newspaper for some time.
Yes.
other than online, so.
Leavenworth Times, do you
Yeah.
publish there at
We
at all?
used
You
to,
used to, you don't?
yeah.
Okay.
but now we
Yeah.
are able to just use our website for anything planning and zoning related, but
Okay.
we can use our website, which is
All right.
really quite beneficial.
Better than Facebook.
I think so.
Do I have a motion? Or any other questions? Maybe I should ask that first.
No. It looks like we have to find a secretary for the minutes. Or is
So
that you?
it's, me.
Okay. Okay,
if you would desire to appoint somebody else, you certainly can, but typically. it is
okay,
the-
that's what I was wondering. So be my only question.
If you want to take your own minutes, then by all means.
Pass.
Yeah.
All right, do I have a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt the bylaws as written.
By a second?
Yep, I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and aye. Rio.
I will get you over a copy of these to
Okay.
sign, and I don't think this says draft anywhere, but I'm not positive that it
Okay.
doesn't say draft anywhere, and I
You don't do a first read. You don't need a first read on any, when you do bylaws or anything. Okay.
no.
All right.
And yeah, so we'll have you sign them
Okay.
and then we'll get them.
Call or email and swing by.
Perfect. Thank you.
Instead of having the police knock on my door at 9:30.
I know all the neighbors. What's going
I know. It scared me, actually. The dogs started barking at me.
on? Every time they show up at your door.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right, make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
See you next time.
Yeah, you bet.
Thanks.
Good seeing you, Mike.
My wife was like, he doesn't go by that. I'm not sure he's here. And